Welcome back to Full Course Scootering. This news might be really great to some people and maybe kind of meh for a lot of other people. And that is, Proto has finally come out with their new size of deck plate. And that is the 5.5 by 22 and a half. 22 and a half. So I went out and I purchased it myself, and we're going to do a comparison video or a versus video of the Proto Space Deck and the Proto Eclipse deck. Now, by saying deck, I mean deck plate, because if you know Proto, they have two-piece decks. They have the neck and they have the deck plate, and they make sweet, sweet love together and make one deck. We'll talk about the Eclipse deck first off. This will be a little bit of a review video as well. So I have the old Proto head tube. I believe this is 83 degrees, and this is not the TH head tube. If you know anything about Proto, they used to run with the, you can't really see it, but with the bolts here, there used to be like little axles that went through the head tube to bolt it together. And with the new TH system, they thread, there's nuts that thread into the head tube, which holds it together a lot better, apparently. I just kept the old head tube because it works perfectly fine, and I figured why buy a brand new head tube for $150, $160 when I can just use this old one and it works the exact same. So they do have a new head tube out. It is the TH one, but it's also 84 degree head tube angle. So if you like a steeper head tube angle, that would be a great one for you to try out if you are wanting to get the new Proto deck. You can see on the bottom, 5.5 wide by 22 and a half long. This is the only size that they make currently so far with it, and a lot of people are kind of pissed off that it's not 6 wide, which I think they personally could have made like 5.75 and kind of made like a happy medium in between. Yeah, I don't really know why they went with 5.5. I personally really like 5.5. I know a lot of people out there like bigger, wider decks. So this deck plate does have more concave than the space deck, and that is due to the width of the deck. So I guess the ends of the deck kind of flare out a little bit steeper, so you have a little bit more concave on this new Eclipse deck. It's pretty much shaped the exact same as the space deck, it's just bigger. It's literally the exact same deck. I really enjoy the deck ends. I don't know, they work really good, and they're super simple. They slide really good. It is a little bit weird to me that looking at it, it kind of sticks out a little bit over the deck. So it looks a little bit weird. It's not like flush on the sides. I think the thing that kind of annoys me the most with it is that it doesn't come with spacers to make it compatible with 30mm wide wheels. I am running 28mm wide wheels. So these are the spacers. It's kind of hard to see. They're a little bit longer or wider than most spacers that I've seen on decks. So if you're going to run 30mm wide wheels, which it can run them, you're just going to have to find some spacers that will work on it. You're going to have to rig it up and figure out how to run it on there. So yeah, you can run it on there. It is wide enough for it, but it just doesn't come with the spacers to run it, because Proto wheels are only 24s. So that's probably what they make the decks compatible to run with. I really like the universal braking system, or UBS, yeah. So pretty much if you have any brake or fender that is center mounted like this, it'll work, and it's highly adjustable, so you can have it you know, you can ride 120s on there if you want, or whatever you need to do. The only thing that I really just don't understand why they didn't do with this deck is they don't have a cutout on the bottom down here like they did with the space deck. So if you have like nuts that screw into the brake bolts, or yeah, whatever, brake bolts, it's kind of hard. You gotta kind of get your finger in there and try to hold it together while you screw it and all that. So you can't really get like a socket or anything in there to hold it together. I don't know, it's just, it feels a little outdated on that point, because so many companies out there have finally found ways to like make getting to the brake a lot easier. It just makes it kind of harder and a lot slower. As for the width of the deck, if you don't know, the top of the deck is 5.5, but the bottom of it is not. And if you've ridden the space deck before, you probably know that it is wider on top than it is on the bottom. You can see that the deck tapers a little bit on the side, which I don't really understand why they did it like that. Just because, you know, 5.5 isn't really that wide still, so you don't really need to taper it on the sides to make it, you know, so it doesn't scrape and all that. Plus, a lot of people are out there already riding like 115s and 120s and stuff like that, so, I mean, I'm riding 115s and I don't scrape at all, so I don't really understand why they just didn't make it totally square. Not really a make or break deal for me though. I know maybe some people it might. So it makes it like 5.25 on the bottom. They are really, really good with blunts and stuff like that. You have a lot of room between the fork and the head tube. And just like the shape of the head tube here, it's just nice and flat, and there's no welds or anything, so you'll be able to slide them really good if you want to try doing like blunt slides and stuff like that. The only trick that I found that I kind of struggled with, and I'm just not really good at them at all in general, is overcrooks. I just don't really have like the nose balance to do them. I don't know, I couldn't really hold them for very long or very good on this deck. Now it might just be me still needing to get used to the weight distribution on it, or just like the weight of the deck, just getting used to how it rides. You can get into it easy, but it doesn't feel like there's like a spot where it like locks in. On to the space deck. The space deck has been around since what, 2015, 2016? So this is the V1 that I have, and the way that you know if it's the V1 or not is it'll have, the V1s have, I don't know what you'd really call it, it's got like a small angle here on the front. Come on, focus. Anyway, yeah, small angle here on the front. They updated on the Space 2 to make it more like how the front is here on this, where it tapers at like a 45 right there, instead of like, it goes like straight down and then angles. And then I think on the Space 2 I don't know exactly what they did, but I think they made it so it has more foot room. I think it was like a ½ inch more or something like that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 1/4 inch and ½ inches actually, you can feel a big difference on it. So the space deck is obviously going to be lighter because it's a smaller deck. On these ones, they made it so that it is 5 on top and like 4.75 on the bottom. So it tapers like a 1/4 inch on the bottom. And then they have the cutout on the bottom, like I said before, which makes it a lot easier to get to the brake bolts and stuff like that. One thing that I've noticed about this deck, I don't know if the Eclipse deck is going to do it, but I've noticed that one side of it, on the bottom, it should be flat, but I think over time from doing like 50/50s and stuff like that, one side of it has kind of like bent up a little bit. So when you get into like board slides and stuff, you can kind of feel the deck, it kind of like rocks back and forth on it. That was one thing that I noticed on the space deck. So we'll see if the Eclipse deck does that, and we'll see if it's any stronger. Other than that, that is my review for the Proto Eclipse deck. A little bit of a different video. I'm not doing any riding clips in this. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to continue doing riding clips with my reviews. For right now, I figured I would make it simple and easy for people to watch a review and get what they need out of it without having to watch me suck at riding scooters. Yeah, this deck plate is still $100. Yeah, until the next video, you have a good one.